Statement by ministers. The Minister of Aboriginal Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is my first minister statement here in the People's House. It's an important and uncompromising principle to me that my first statement as the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs be the following. I would like to begin by recognizing that we are on the ancestral land of the Wolastoqey people. In fact, the earliest known inhabitants of the land we stand on date back over 12,000 years. The first European contact we stand on was only about 400 years ago. Following the election of September 24th, 2018, I met with our current Premier. We discussed the ways in which he felt I could improve our province and what role I wish to play in such change. At the meeting in October, I indicated to him that I had only one specific request, that I become the Minister of a revitalized Department of Aboriginal Affairs. This was afforded to me, and in the form of a new standalone department. And that's the vision of the Premier of New Brunswick. The Premier and our caucus understand what is unspoken in this chamber, but which we are all aware of, that our history does not always reflect our values. With this government and this Premier and myself as Minister, there is an opportunity for a new path forward in New Brunswick between our government and the First Nations people who pre-existed European settlement by over 10,000 years. As with this past, this new chapter will only become a reality over time as the pages are written. Based on the history, people will quite rightly wonder if these are hollow words or a truly cooperative framework and a relationship is being built. I submit to that test. This is not a soundbite. Judge me by my actions, not these words. In the days to come, I will inform the House of some of the matters we will be announcing, some small and some large, that demonstrate the reality of our commitment to changing the relationship with First Nations people to one of respect and understanding. Our government will be working to implement changes necessary in our provincial courts procedure, just like in Nova Scotia, to allow First Nations individuals who are disproportionately represented in these courts, by the way, to swear their oath on an eagle feather, a sign of true respect by the Premier and the members of this House. This is only the beginning, Mr. Speaker. There are much more complicated and challenging files for us to resolve, but the First Nations people of New Brunswick deserve our respect and our support. In the true spirit of this statement, I also want to extend a hand across the aisle to any members of any parties who feel the same way about our shared history. I would be remiss not to recognize the sincere commitment of the member for Fredericton South. He has worked hard to be a voice for First Nations people in New Brunswick. I truly hope that I can count on his support for these issues. Mr. Speaker, these changes cannot be an initiative of one person or of one party, just as our challenges today are not a product of a single act. The construction of a new one will take work by all people and all parties. We can do better. We must do better. We will do better. Mr. Speaker, I was raised in a home where my parents taught me that it was never too late to do the right thing. I ask all members to join me in creating a stronger province that includes our First Nations people.